Good morning, Dan. It's Hans. It is so good to be talking today, this Friday morning. Last week, my conversation with Dan was about drones, and in particular, it was about why you did not want a drone. So if you missed that, you can check it out here. I don't know, will I put it here or there? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, that was all about why schools and nonprofits did not need a flying robotic camera. And this week's episode is all about why schools and nonprofits might consider getting one. So once again, I have here my Phantom DJI Vision 2 Plus with camera and gimbal. Retails for about $1,300. That's $1,300 with second battery. I've got a third battery just so I can keep flying. Why did I get this camera? Why did I get this one? Well, I wanted the built-in gimbal, which balances out your shot as you're flying. It's an active gimbal, so if you fly to the left, it tilts to the right. It makes your shots just buttery smooth, just beautifully smooth. I was talking to someone who used an older version of this, and they said that they would fly for about a minute without the gimbal and get about 3 to 4 seconds of usable footage. With the gimbal and this setup, I can fly for a minute and I get a minute of usable footage. It's absolutely beautiful. Also, I love that I can look into the iPhone app and I can see what the camera sees. This is absolutely brilliant for lining up a shot, for shooting video. It's absolutely brilliant. So that's why I went with that particular drone. But without any further ado, here are my reasons why a school or nonprofit might consider buying a UAV. Reason the first, this thing is an incredible value. Sure, it's $1,300, but holy cow, it's only that much money. So in the past, if you wanted to do a really cinematic, sweeping shot of your campus, you would have to buy a jib or a crane, or probably you just wouldn't do that kind of shot because you didn't have access to the kind of Hollywood level equipment that you would need. With this thing, not only can you take beautiful campus aerial photographs, but you can also shoot just absolutely amazing video. And so it's really an incredible value. Reason the second, this thing is actually really easy to fly. In my last video, I talked about how being easy to fly was actually a disadvantage because you might crash it, but this thing is really easy to fly. If you're good at video games, if you've ever driven a remote control car, it's much easier to fly than it's certainly much easier to fly than a remote control airplane. I've flown remote control airplanes and they're very difficult to fly because they're always moving. With the quadcopter, if you let go of the controls, pretty much the thing's going to stop and hover in midair. And that's a really nice safety feature, so you can move or readjust or kind of make sure the thing doesn't crash. So it's very easy to fly, which brings me to the next reason I think that you might consider one of these things is you'll start not thinking like a videographer, but you'll start thinking like a cinematographer. You'll start looking at where is the really dramatic shot that I can get. I thought I would do a lot of really big shots from really high up or big zooming crane style shots. It turns out those aren't my favorite style. My favorite shot with this thing is either a push in really far, or even more dramatic is when you can pull back and then the landscape kind of comes around you like this. It's really dramatic. It's really exciting when you start on the level and you pull away and you're pulling back behind and trees or something comes out like this. It's a really dramatic and really cool shot. So you start thinking like a cinematographer. This thing might also have some educational uses. So if you don't mind having teachers or students fly this, which I'm not sure that you strictly want to do, but if you did want to do that, there might be some educational things you might do as well. So for example, maybe you'll study motion, speed, acceleration. Maybe you'll put a little barometric pressure sensor on there and fly it up to 300 feet and see what the barometric pressure does. There might be some really interesting ways that you could build this into like a science or an engineering class. So finally, I think the most compelling reason for getting a UAV is that you'll absolutely delight your audience when they see the clips that you produce. Now, I never recommend that you do a 3 or 4 minute long aerial video. I think that's boring. But if you include 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9, 10-second little clips, just short little snippets that absolutely delight your audience, it's a really nice addition to what I would call an authentic best style video that will absolutely delight your audience, leave them wondering how the heck you did it, and just really focused in on your video, which is ultimately what you want. So Dan, those are some of my reasons why you might consider getting a UAV if you're a school or a nonprofit. So for now, that's all I have. Next week's video will be late, I'm telling you now, because I'm actually going to Spain. I'm going to Spain next week. I'm working with a school in southern Spain, so I'll be on the road on Friday. But I think what I'll do, if I can work out like internet, is I'll try to post my conversation with Dan on Sunday from Spain. So look for that. What am I going to talk about? I don't know. I'll have to be inspired when I'm over there. But look for conversation with Dan next week from Spain. But for now, Dan, I hope you get a chance to be creative today. And please, please don't confuse what's urgent for what's important. Talk to you later.